Find out what's going on. Get involved. Change things from the inside. Make a difference. Take pride. Multicultural at its best. The Luisa Marshall Show. Coming up.
All news simply the best. Get inspired. On the show, founder of Influence Publishing, Julie Salisbury, ready to empower more women to share their own life-changing journey to the world.
They want to hear about your difficult journey. They want to hear about all the challenges.
In 2003, Julie wrote the book Around the World in 7 Years, which has impacted many. Julie has published many books that highlighted extraordinary stories of regular people from all walks of life. The past years, she worked with Women of Worth founder Christine Oram, who published 8 best-selling collaborative books with Influence Publishing. Her business model is to make sure that writers retain all rights and royalties to their book.
Keep all of their rights to their book, 100% rights and 100%.
Every woman has a story, no matter how sad, crazy, and how weird it could be. Your story matters. Get ready to be inspired. All these coming up. It's 2021, the year of awesomeness and amazingness, and we promise to bring you only the best. So here we are on this wonderful Vancouver day with our friend, Influence Publishing founder, Julie Salisbury.
Hello, Luisa.
Welcome back to Vancouver.
Oh, thank you. It's lovely to be back, although it would be nice if there was a little bit more sunshine.
Oh, I know. Well, you just came back from Mexico, and you know what, Julie? That was a long quarantine with the Zoocar.
Mm-hmm.
Our viewers want to see more of your salsa dancing with the Zoocar. That was such a fun episode we did.
It was.
Well,
and I dance with him every week. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It is wonderful. Okay, let's talk business. Women of Worth founder Christine Oram interview was loaded with really valuable information that I never knew before. And now we can all agree that every woman has a story to tell. Christine told the world her story, and she published 8 collaborative best-selling books with Influence Publishing, and turning all of us into super women. So Julie, you just keep inspiring us out. So why do you think it's important to share our loss, our grief, our mistakes, our mental health, our lunacy, our misfortunes? Why do you think?
Oh, you know, we're all human. We're all human, Luisa. And for some reason, we think that it's only us. We think that nobody else has experienced what we've experienced. We think that, you know, well, nobody knows what I'm going through. And, you know, what I find when I read all these stories, how many similar experiences people are going through. But they're all at different stages, right? So some people have overcome their trauma. They found amazing tools. They found amazing ways to healing. And other people are still stuck. They're still back there. They're still in their trauma. They're still there. They're not moving forward. And so those people that have moved through it and they now have all this information and all these tools, they can share that with these other people that are still stuck. And when you read those stories and you realize how similar they are, you realize that it's very easy for other women to identify with other women that have been through the same as them. So they see themselves in those stories and they're very inspired, knowing that they can actually get through it, and there's going to be an easy way to do it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Julie, I have been a big fan of yours, believe it or not, since Life Outside the Box.
All right.
One of my favorites, Michael Jackson, Man Behind the Mirror. I actually featured this on my show.
Yes.
And I've realized that you've always been on my show for the last 10 years. And another one that's very, very important, Lost Decency.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, Immigrant Success Planning. So many here.
Yes.
Holy. And one of my favorites, Belinda Lee's. And of course, I had her on the show. Yes, 5-inch heels.
Yes. She's awesome.
She's very nice. And you know what? She's in Dubai right now. Of course, the Woman of Worth, which I'm a part of, Moms in Business.
Yes.
And bestseller. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for your invitation for me to write the foreword. And that was such an experience.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's getting all these women to collaborate together is so beautiful.
Your book, Around the World in 7 Years. This is Julie's book, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it has impacted many. So you have empowered many people and many women and some men to write about their own life-changing journey, and also helped to ensure that their book is their intellectual property.
Yes.
So why is it important for writers to retain all rights and royalties for their book? Because you told a story about what happened to you the first time.
You know, it's very interesting that we have this perception about publishing, and we have this perception about the role, right, of the publisher. And what happens when you actually, people say, oh, a publisher's taken my book. What you're actually doing is selling your book. You're selling your intellectual property. So you hear about people talking about advances and royalties, but what you don't hear about is the side that is basically means you've sold yourself. You've actually sold your story to somebody, and it doesn't belong to you anymore. Like when you sell your rights, that means it's not yours. That means you do not have the right to it at all. You do not have the right to have any influence over the way it's edited, what the title is, what the cover design looks like, what price it is, where it's sold. You cannot have any influence over how long it's going to be in print. So what happens is that for many publishers, particularly right now, they can't afford the risk of doing big print runs. So they may only print a few hundred, right? And try it in a few stores to see how it goes. And if it doesn't take off like straight the way, it's totally dead in the water, and they will never do a print run ever again. And that's it. You've lost your book. A book is known as a fast-moving consumer good. It's known as something that moves quickly, and they sell it and then they're on to the next thing. That's why you see in bookstores that, in the front window, that the book's always changing, like all the time. But the stories that we're sharing, Luisa, they're not fast-moving consumer goods, right? We are knowledge keepers, wisdom keepers. These stories need to last a lifetime. So that's why it's so important for you to keep your own intellectual property, because that means that your book will live not just as long as you, but beyond you, because there's no restrictions of doing minimum print runs and then taking it out of circulation. So it's so important for you to keep the rights to your book. Like Influence Publishing, all of my authors keep all of their rights to their book, 100% rights and 100% royalties. So when I created a new model for publishing, I actually did it in 2014 because I published a very famous hockey player, and because he was very famous, we got a lot of pre-orders for his book. In fact, 30,000 copies of pre-orders for his book from people like Costco and Chapters and all these people. But what actually happened is exactly what I'm telling you about. The book went onto the shelves, and his book didn't sell the way that they expected it to, certainly not the way his first book sold, because it was about a very sensitive topic, right? So his first book was his memoir about his hockey career. His second book was about his sexual abuse story with his coach. So very traumatic and very a very sensitive topic. So of course, you know, they have a very different market, but the retailers are just thinking, well, he's a famous person, so the book's going to sell in the same way as the first book sold. Well, it didn't at all, Luisa, not at all. So what actually happened was within 4 weeks, I ended up with 20,000 books back in my warehouse because, as I said, if the book doesn't sell, they just send it back to the publisher. So, you know, so at that point, I realized, you know, this is not a winning model for anybody, right? It's not a winning model because the author is not getting any exposure. Like they're into this old-fashioned system where the bookstore is the only place where the book can be bought, and the bookstore only keeps the book on the shelf for 2 weeks, and if it doesn't sell, that's it, right? And I realized that, you know, for people that are sharing their stories of wisdom, these books need a different approach, right? They need to be marketed in a different way, and they need to be marketed with the way that books are being sold right now, which is online. My business model is really works in terms of the overall packaging of not just the book, but the person, you know, the brand of the person. Where can you get this person? Like, you know, okay, I've just read this book and it's amazing. So what now? Can I have them as a speaker? Do they do a workshop? Are they available as a coach? You know, can I have them? Is there an online program? You know, and that's what it's all about. It's about the big picture. So I, as a publisher now, I call myself partner publishing because I'm more of a coach and a consultant now to actually help and guide people. So you're paying me for my time, but you're paying me for my expertise, which means then I can guide you all the way, and you can still keep your rights, and you can still keep all your intellectual property, and you get to keep all the profit because I'm not taking a share of anything, right? I'm getting paid for my time, basically.
No, really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Myself and our publisher, Julie Salisbury, who is the owner of Influence Publishing, who's down in Mexico right now, so she couldn't be here either, is we promise a strategy that takes you from the day that we meet together as a group and start this process to the day that we become a best-selling author, that we will only take 3 or just over 3 months to accomplish this. And, you know, the usual first reactions are gasp and shock and no, it's not possible. And of course, it's been possible for absolutely everyone because we have a fantastic system that supports our authors every step of the way.
With social media becoming a real big part of our lives right now, and you know that really well. I always see your posting of the nice beaches, your beautiful house in Mexico. And you know, it has become more, you know, more important in our lives during this pandemic. And I know that you've always been a purpose-driven woman. So and sometimes we get this thing like every day, you know, you wake up and do you get purpose anxiety sometimes like me? Is there one thing that matters to you for 2021?
I think in 2021, I mean, apart from anything, I think I live a very different life to everybody else.
You do,
right?
You do. It's an amazing life. It's interesting. It's fun. I mean, going from the book coaching new authors and driving people to where they're supposed to go, inspiring people, empowering me, of all people who don't really want to write. I mean, it's like, because I always have that feeling of I don't have the time. When you see how other women who didn't think that they could actually be a part of a book, especially a collaborative book like Moms in Business, it's just really a different feeling when you know that you're in a good place, and most of the people surrounding you are all positive, and then are all inspiring. Like, they all have different stories to tell. And so what's for 2021 for you?
Okay, 2021. I just, the thing that I'm so passionate about is these collaborative books. And, I could say that it's a selfish thing, because, here I am, sitting in my little beach house, and, I have an amazing, as you know, Azuka, he's so much fun. He's wonderful to be around. But, I've lost my people. I've lost all the women that I used to socialize with. I mean, a lot of people have done that right now in the pandemic, right? They've not got that same social circle as they had before. But, in Mexico, I feel very cut off. And so these collaborative books bring together groups of women that connect and collaborate. And there's just nothing like getting up on a sunny morning in Mexico, alone a lot of the time, because Azuka's off, teaching dance or whatever, and feeling like, I'm here alone in Mexico. Where's my people? And then I open up my Zoom, and there's 15 beautiful women, and we're all sharing our stories. We're all sharing our passions. We're sharing the things that we love about life. We're helping one another, and we're sharing very intimate stories. So suddenly you've got 15 best friends, right? Because you're working together to produce one book with the 15 stories. Everybody's helping one another, whether we're on a private Facebook group, or whether we're on a Zoom call. It's like you've got 15 people living in your house, right? Because it's just this beautiful community, all with a common purpose of being of service to one another and being of service to other women. And, at the moment, I've got like 6 collaborative projects on the go. So just think about that. Like, that's like 60 plus best friends that I wake up and spend time with every single day. So, whereas there's a lot of people, I mean, I'm in isolation right now, right? But I don't feel like I'm in isolation.
Wow. Yeah.
Today I was rubbing shoulders with 35 women on Zoom, right? With Christine. So it's, it's so beautiful when you have this opportunity to come together. So the collaborative books, for me, that is my big passion for 2021, is to be bringing people together and saying, you know what, you can share your story, and your story is important. And when you've got 15 people supporting you, you never have to feel alone. You never have to feel like, I'm not good enough. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to approach this. None of that, because you have this big support network around you at all times. And because of the support that I give with the collaborative book projects, with Christine and the Wow books, you end up with having a family, right, that's supporting you. You will never feel like you can't share your story, or that you don't want to be vulnerable, or you can't write. When we come together, I pull the story out of people. And if they say, I can't write, I say, everybody can write. If you can speak, you can write. Just write it as you speak it. Send it to me like it's a journal note, and then I'll do everything else, because I can do structural editing, development editing, and then when we get the content, we then pass it on to a technical editor for the language. So people misunderstand that being an author is not about being a good writer. It's about being a good storyteller, right? So everybody can be a storyteller. Everybody can share their story. And most people, when they get that published book in their hand and they read their story, they're like, wow, I sound really good.
What's a good storyteller?
A good storyteller, actually, you know what, Luisa, it's somebody who's willing to be vulnerable and authentic and real. Because if you are not willing to really go deep, really go deep inside and express your emotions and express your feelings, express your vulnerabilities, express your fears, but then at the same time, talk about the challenges that you had along the way. Not, I don't know, sometimes I feel that people just feel that that they should have it all together, right? They've got to have all the answers before they can write a book or write a chapter in a book. And it's like, that's not what we're looking for. Those people that are in that journey right now, they want to know that they're not alone. So they want to hear about your vulnerable journey. They want to hear about your difficult journey. They want to hear about all the challenges that you had. But at the same time, they want to hear about, well, how did you overcome them? What did you do to get to the other side? So, sometimes, we all love Brené Brown and, some of those other amazing authors out there that do have all the answers. But, sometimes we want the real person, the ordinary woman with the ordinary challenges and the ordinary lives, so that we can relate to them more. So, that's what a good storyteller is, Luisa. It's just somebody who is real and authentic and willing to be vulnerable. So right now, there's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. Christine is recruiting for book 9 of the Woman of Worth series. It is called, the working title for the book is Women in Business in a Changing World. So we are looking for inspiring women that are in business, that have adapted, that have had to pivot or change the way they do business because of the pandemic and because of the changing world. So we want inspiring stories of people that have been able to adapt the way they do business. In order to survive or in order to thrive even, right? I mean, I certainly know my business is really thriving right now because, there's a lot of people in isolation. And so therefore it's the perfect time to be writing your story. When we say women in business, we're not just talking about business owners, right? It's a much more general, broader term. But we're looking for inspiring stories and we're looking to showcase local businesses and local women so that we can start doing more business with each other and helping one another. So that's what this book is all about. You can email Christine directly at christine@awomanofworth.com. And she will send you an application package and let you know all about it and how you can get involved. And if you want to get in contact with me, you can do that at founder@influencepublishing.com.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? There's so many people who have entirely changed their lifestyle, entirely changed their purpose during the pandemic.
Yes.
And to the better. And
yes.
Which is really good. But some, I feel sorry for them. But you know what? It is what it is. And we just have to find the real meaning of life and our purpose. And you have found yours. I'd like to, of course, recommend again. I know it's an old book, but Around the World in 7 Years by Julie Salisbury. It's not too late for you guys to get this book. It's not too late. It's really amazing. It's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Julie. Whoa, it's so
Luisa.
inspiring again, as usual. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful quarantine time in Vancouver. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Please don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Always be kind. Let's stop bullies and the coronavirus. Wash your hands. Stay safe. Wear a mask. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.